Hello YouTube, it's once again Nicholas from the Baron's Finest doing a Cardfight Vanguard deck profile for once, because I've been in a lot more of a Vanguard mood compared to a Yu-Gi-Oh one. So what do you have for us today, good sir?
I have Gold Paladin, specifically a Monarch Sanctuary Alfred build.
Alright, so what made you decide to go Alfred?
Because I like having the ability to potentially go quad crit, because it's good, and he gets plus 40k, so if I get that, ridiculous. But in all honesty, it just puts up pressure, and I can get a little loop where I can unflip damage, because we get a very good, in set 15, we got a very good damage unflipper that's dormant for Blaster Blade Liberator, but it doesn't matter what, they don't have to be in the same column, and they can stack upon each other.
So it's not like the Shadow Paladin.
No, it's leagues better.
Yeah, alright, so let's get started.
Yeah, so I start off with Aram.
Just turn it like that so we can see.
Yeah, alright. I start with Aram because you want to get that Blaster Blade call to get off Monarch Sanctuary Alfred's effect. And then we'll go triggers.
Let me double check.
Seeing that this is an aggro build, 8 crit,
No, I do.
Standard.
Alright.
4 draw,
The cool draw.
Not next week, but the weekend.
4 heal.
Yep. Would you consider more crit since you like playing aggressive, or like do you feel like
I might. I'm still testing out the build because I still have things that I'd like to add to it.
Alright.
I mean, I only have one Alfred at this point, which is unfortunate. I'm actually getting a second. So Alfred, pretty much the boss of this deck. Superior calling a Blaster Blade Liberator at Limit Break 5, which is kind of risky, but it's worth it because getting plus 10 and plus 1 crit for just calling specific units is pretty good, and this deck can set it up rather easily.
Yeah, with
especially with starters.
Star Rain.
Yeah.
So. And how many of these would you be playing since you used to have
I'm going to be my specific build. I want to run 3 of this, 2 Zenith, and 3 of the Break Ride.
Okay.
So I could run it. Right now I only run 7.
So, yeah, so it would be 3, but it's just the one right now.
Someone got the
and you're gonna show us which one you what you would drop for it. Like
I would drop this, and then I would have to drop a grade 2. I probably am going to drop Garrett's because he's good, but I don't really get off his skill, and Bruno's better because I'd rather have a 10k boost. Yeah. So I run this kind of as an alternative, since I don't have Alfred's right now, more of the Monarch. He's good, and you can still get Spirit Calls, and he's 26 by himself. Alfred does gain a K for each Gold Paladin Rear Guard, but this by itself, if I don't have the Break Ride, I'd probably go this first, because being 21 by himself without any triggers or anything is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll play 1 Zenith. I'm going to bring this up to 2 because it's ridiculous. It's a very good alternate Vanguard and superior calling for days and gets plus 10k, because at first I really do like Gold Paladins, especially Liberators, but the problem is I felt it early. They didn't have enough things that actually made them very Gold Paladin-like. I mean, they had superior callers, but it didn't really do much. But then when this came out, I felt like this is was probably their first extremely good boss monster that really made the deck unique, specifically for Liberators, because superior calling something and giving it plus 10k, it's not just giving power to the Vanguard, it's giving it power all around, and sometimes rear guards can win you a game easily. And his art looks pretty sick too. And then for the Break Ride, I'm probably going to cut down 1. Yeah, I might also run, there's a Break Ride Searcher, discard a grade 3, or drop a grade 3 and search for him. It's just to add to the consistency.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what he does, he gains plus 2 when he attacks, so he's a 13k attacker on Vanguard. And when you Break Ride, you get plus 10, and 3 of your rear guards get plus 5.
So yeah, he pounds up your board really well.
Which, with this, you want a decent sized board.
Yeah.
2 Blaster Blade Liberators. I would. Oh my god. I'll do it again. I got 2 Blaster Blade Liberators. I want this to be at 4, but I didn't buy enough of the starter deck, so.
Yeah, it's kind of overpriced here, so.
Yeah, he's pretty integral to the combo. But the only problem is, his effect is kind of, it's good, but I hardly find myself using it. But I have been using it more ever since we got the damage on Flipper. Which we'll get to.
It's basically more free, so.
Yeah.
I mean, basically it becomes kind of must one.
Yeah. One Garrett. I want to run. I want to run 4 Esprad. The only problem, I actually don't have all 4. I'm obtaining them though. I've ordered them.
Okay, so they're already in the mail. So pretend there's 4 here.
Then I'll probably cut out 1 Paladin, the 12k attacker, this, and 1 of these for it. If you're curious about trying to make this build.
Yeah, so pay attention to the comments. Actually keep volume on, don't just copy the list. So pay attention to
Also, very importantly, this is probably your best grade 2 ride. I mean, Blaster Blade is a pretty decent one as well, but you don't always want to have to resort on your Star Reigns, which I'll get to next. But specifically, Blaster Blade Liberator is, you want to keep this in hand if you have it so you can get the Alfred off. And getting Alfred off is always pretty much the main point of this deck.
Yeah.
So this at 4 is really good because you get the Spirit Call, and even though you might not really get it off much, especially if it's a rear guard, but it gives your opponent an incentive to block, which is always good, pressure.
Like, that's always been the thing with Gold Paladins, both this and the Bane always force guards.
Yeah, which is beautiful.
It's like, if they don't get the guard, like, okay, you don't get the guard, but you're still going to free units.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, it's either you make them drop cards or you get cards. So either way, they're going to be behind in card advantage.
And then, Star Rain. I want to put this to 3. I'd probably drop the Garants or the Fallon. I want to keep 3 of the 12k attackers because it's really good.
Yeah.
Especially sacking it off the deck with Gaslaw Zenith. A 22 attacker by itself is never bad, especially if you have it behind a Bruno. You didn't attack with the Bruno, so you can just smack him for 25. It's always a good number. But this resets your Blaster Blade Liberators. If it's in the soul or drop zone, you shuffle into the deck and Superior Call the top card of your deck after shuffling, which is pretty good, and it doesn't require a counterblast, and she stays on the field, so it's rather free. In all honesty, it's very good, and if you're running the Alfred build especially, 3 of her is almost a must. Unfortunately, I've ordered mine, but they're not in yet. But nonetheless, this deck still operates rather well. Oh yeah, 4 Fallon, as I said, I'm probably going to cut it down to 3. But this card is ridiculous. This card does things. And his new artwork that is coming out is also pretty sick.
Oh, I love his new artwork. It's so nice. His Vanguard is actually cool. It gives us some art.
But Fallon... Yeah, Fallon is just ridiculous. 12k attacker when he's on rear guard. It can really help, especially when you're trying to swing. Because right now, there's rarely anything that's actually a 10k base.
Yeah.
So 12 helps, especially when you rely a lot on your rear guard, which this deck does. Okay, Garrett's. When something's superior called, it gains +3, so he's another 12k attacker, pseudo.
Yeah, so
but I'm probably going to drop these. I might run 1 or 2 at all. But he's really good, but I think he's probably better in maybe a Garmor build. But Garmor builds are fun.
Yeah.
They're really different though from regular Liberator builds because you really don't play the break raid.
Yeah.
And then for my last one, this because of all the things coming in, and in all honesty, people really do underestimate 10k.
Yeah, 10k is like, I'm gonna vouch this again because when I learned the Gen Con, 10k is just like the fact that there's 10 base is enough like to honestly just win a game with their mind.
And legitimately chump blocking to keep them safe. It's not always the worst thing.
Yeah. Like, it's a rear guard worth protecting because, like, that 1k makes a difference. And that's why you don't see the 4k cool artwork draw triggers in a lot of decks.
Yeah. And then the Beastly card that we got from BT15, pretty much what makes this deck run in the cute little loop. So basically, anytime a Blaster Blade Liberator, it has to be Liberator, it can't be any other Blaster Blade just in case. I've seen people try to do it, especially in Cardfight Arena. So you have to get this little cute guy. Anytime, so say you have 3 of these on field. You call 1, that's a free, I'm flipping 3 damage. It's rather cute. I like doing cute shit with decks. Yes, and also he's the 7k, so it's not exactly like you're losing numbers by any means.
Yeah.
He's a better Dorant, in all honesty, if you've ever played with him.
If you were 6 or 5, he'd probably be like a lot less than par.
He might have been a 2 or 3 of, if that. Okay, Marins, because rushing is always a good thing.
And it's 10k grade 1.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's always good to open this because a lot of decks right now, especially in the meta, I guess Vanguard has a meta now, you really have to, I feel that most decks, it's really good to rush them early, get that early damage. And yeah, sure, sorry. But you really have to rush them, in my opinion, to really get advantage.
Yeah.
I don't like, because they'll guard early. I know a lot of people who guard early, but I think it's a waste. I think guarding later is probably more important, especially for some decks. But of course, there's obviously things that are like Nova Grapplers. If you can get them to not have much damage on you early, it helps.
Yeah.
But of course, Vanguard is a game of diversity, which is
nice.
Yeah. Alright, Bruno, the very, very good
The
card.
amazing grade 1.
Yeah. So basically, if you originally we had to run the
Future Night Loop.
So he was okay, but this card is so much superior, especially in this build where your whole focus is on superior calling units. for days. So basically, anytime you superior call, well, this guy's there, 10k, just feel free. And 10k boost, it's never really a bad thing.
10k minimum, so.
Yeah, he's even done things for me when he's in, when I superior call him off of the Zenith, and he's 10k, so he'll be a 20k attacker. A 20k attacker from just a superior call is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, obligatories, perfect guards. I would want these to be all liberated. Yeah, sorry. It was good, so good. But I wouldn't want them to all be the Halo Liberator mark, but actually in this deck, not exactly a lot of things actually acquire a special counter bus. Except like Esgrad, I believe, is the only one. Last Rebirth Liberator does as well. That's what it's done. Okay.
Well, no, Liberator doesn't. He just grants a Liberator Vanguard.
Yeah.
So he's not, like, Last Rebirth Liberator isn't a special counter boss, but he does just need Liberator Vanguard.
Yeah. But generally, these are the only things that in the whole deck that aren't Liberator. So.
But like, you would get the Liberator ones if you could.
Yeah.
Plus the artwork's infinitely better.
Oh yeah, it's so beautiful. Yeah. Do you want me to do some combos or?
We might do that for another time.
Okay.
Like, once you have more like the actual.
Yeah.
Stuff,
Once it's
like once
really
it's fully
complete.
built.
Yeah.
So, any final comments you want to give on the deck?
It's a very fun deck, and especially if you run into cute little things like Glindios, you can really get a pretty strong late game off of a Glindios player. When their key purpose is to Omega lock all your units, which makes it where it's locked for one extra turn.
Yeah.
Which kind of hurts, but with this, I've always felt that Liberators have had a really hard time in, well, it's unfortunate that they came out when they did because they've had, especially earlier, they had a lot of problems with Link Joker units, because legitimately they just lock your units, because you rely on your rear guards.
Yeah.
Way more than you should if you're trying to fight Link Joker. So, and you're hurting yourself way too much not calling things when you're trying to fight against Link Jokers. So I'm glad that Alfred came out. I know a lot of people are a lot of my friends who play Link Jokers are really annoyed about the fact that Gold Paladin's got a specific counter to him. But in all honesty,
2 specific counters.
But the main problem is I don't feel people play Glindios right, but if they're trying to go for the Omega lock, legitimately this Alfred just counters. It doesn't, and they lose so much because they always have to activate the skills to discard their reverse units and stuff. So basically, if you're playing against a lot of Link Joker players around wherever you play, and you want to run Liberators or Gold Paladins, this would be a very good deck, and also Scissors, because Scissors is a very, very good card.
Yep.
Very underrated in my opinion.
Yeah. Alright, well, thank you.